Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Run It Up. Run It Up number 105, 106. Who's counting at this point, really? We're here today playing some 25 cent, 50 cent, no-limit Texas Hold'em on ultimatepoker.com, hoping we're going to run it up. We've been on a bit of a downswing lately, but, you know, we had a one-game win streak. That was pretty cool. That lasted one episode. Lost a sit and go yesterday. I've actually been playing a bunch might be too much, but I've been playing a little bit off camera in the last week, just trying to put some sessions in, try to do some healing, and I haven't been successful at that so far, but I haven't really lost too much, but have lost a little bit, so we're down to like $880, and no thing, don't worry, don't get all upset over there. I actually think that now that I have a little bit more free time, I'm going to play more of these sessions off camera, and I actually think that starting maybe like the middle of next week, I'm going to start streaming more often. Now that we have a bunch of different ways to stream videos, now that we can stream videos and I know how to record them with hole cards for YouTube, I think I'm going to start streaming sessions longer, and I want to start playing longer sessions anyway. And I think that one of the things that I'm best at is adjusting to people in long sessions, and I think that playing short sessions is just not in my best interest financially, or our best interest for running up bankroll purposes. So I think I'm going to start playing longer sessions, stream them, and then put them on. We'll just play either a bunch of sit and goes or a bunch of cash games, stuff like that. So I'm going to be announcing when I'm playing those sessions on Facebook and Twitter, probably. Facebook for sure, Twitter probably, and I'll probably do a video on YouTube the same day, so I'll let you guys know you can come hang out with me. So that will be happening. That's pretty exciting, but hopefully we'll just run it up right here, right now. Another one of these late night videos. I know we had one yesterday. It was a bit brief, but, you know, what can I say? I didn't want it to be brief. They rivered us, you know. I was in for the long haul. I was ready to play, and they just wouldn't let us. So here we are again, very late at night. Very late at night. I mean, you know, these days, this is very late for me. It's almost 12:30. I mean, I know. It's crazy. 12:30. It's crazy. You know, there are some weeks where 12:30 is like the start of my day, but this is very, very near the end of it. You know, we're a working man now. Actually, going to be a bunch of news, actually, today. I guess we should start with that. Not that there's, like, a crazy ton of news, but for poker specifically, I guess. But in the last couple days, there was a... Gonna have to call here, by the way. I mean, he just made it too small. We wouldn't love this spot, but look at the price we're getting. I can't say no. Here's our $2. Here's the $2. I can't say no. Let's see some paint cards, please. Did make it to 4 paint cards in our collection here, but unfortunately only one of ours matches. I should just talk about that the whole way. I should never talk about pairs or 3 of a kind. I should just try to, like, match the cards, you know? I think that would be terrible, actually. Pretty good news for us that it checked through here, although it's possible this guy has aces and has his beat. I would say, and this guy could have his beat, of course. All he's done is cold call and then check. But I'm not going to fold yet. I think I'm going to start here with a call. If our opponent bets river, we're going to have a decision to make against a guy we've never seen before. I'll be hesitant to fold. I guess it depends what the river card is exactly. I think diamonds are actually good for us. In that there's a decent chance maybe that we could win this pot with if he has the better hand than us. I don't think that's particularly likely, but I actually kind of think that although there are some hands he'll bet here on the turn with like diamonds and stuff like that, there's really not a lot of flushes this guy can have, and I think risking 40 to win 30, we have the best hand sometimes as well, just straight out there, but I think I really like this shove on the river. Let's see what our opponent thinks of that. I mean, I think if he has a hand that's like 3 of a kind, that's probably not folding. But if he just has like a single king or something like that, I mean, we played our hand very reasonably. We can very certainly have a flush. Our opponent thinks so as well. I don't know if we bluffed him or just we could have called and probably won. But hey, we won a pot worth like $20 profit. That's pretty sweet. We should just quit right now. Sorry, sitting out. Pay me my money. No. Hey. Give him the old claw treatment, something we don't do nearly as often these days. But I actually think that decision on the river, I know we were talking about the news. Don't worry, we'll get back to the news. It's not going anywhere. But thinking about that hand on the river, I think it's actually there's a very divergent set of paths on that river, I think. I guess we're being interrupted again by a hand with Queen Jack. I mean, I could call here. I actually would like to call in this spot, but because of the guy on the button who is going to have the strongest set of hands of the 3 of us, with him left to act behind me and the fact that there is a flush draw on board, I think folding is reasonable. as far as that last time we were just talking about, I think that's it's a river where there's lots of different decisions, right? So I think that you'll most commonly see people fold in that spot. They think the guy has a good hand. They go, my hand is not as good as this guy. Apparently we're Russian. My hand is not as good. I don't know if we're Russian. We're some sort of European, though. You'll have to tell me. But I think that he clearly has something, or maybe he has Jack 10. He could have Ace Jack, and I think folding is the most common decision. Is basically where we're talking about with that. But I think the second least common, or the middle decision is calling. You say, okay, well, I think we have this guy beat often enough. He has Ace Jack, Jack 10. I don't believe him, and then we just call. I think that's also fine. And then there's the third path, though, which I think is the least common path, and that's shoving the river, because it's very unlikely that he has a hand that can really withstand that, right? Remember, he just called preflop. He did cold call preflop against R raised and then Candy Bluffs re-raised. So he could have a pretty strong set of hands. Do we win here with R10? It's possible. Nice. So I think that he could have hands that are decent, but he doesn't have too many flushes, right? Well, how many hands? Ask this question to yourself. I pose you this question. How many hands does he have in them that have 2 diamonds that cold call preflop and play exactly that way? Ace Jack of diamonds, Jack 10 of diamonds. You can go through them. There's more than that, but there's not a lot of them. And all we did was call. We played our hand very reasonably as though we could have a flush. And I think he can fold better hands than us, maybe even as good as like 2 pair. It's possible in some universe that guy has king queen and goes, okay, this guy must have me beat. Do I think that's happening? If he shows me king queen, am I shoving? I'm not calling, I guess, so it's shoving or folding, but I would not be nearly as enthusiastic about that play if he showed us 2 pair. But I think it just works really well. If he's bluffing, we win, obviously, because we just win. And if he happens to have a hand that's better than us, but not like super strong, okay, no problem. Gonna just check fold here against a guy who we just don't know at all, and our hand is just so bad on a board like this. It's gonna connect so often with him. No one else played. This guy didn't open under the gun. These 2 guys didn't defend. I think this is very likely to connect with our opponent here, and we improve so infrequently that we just say, okay. Okay, you got this one, kid. Take it. It's all yours, Candy Bluff. So, back to the news we were talking about. There was news this week that Delaware and Nevada have decided to join forces. That's what this is here. They're joining forces. You see what I did? They started apart, and now they ended together. Wow. It's like Star Wars. Very similar to Star Wars. So, yeah, it's happening. Delaware and Nevada. We're going to be able to play together. If you're a run-up warrior from Delaware, and there must be at least a couple of you, if you're a run-up warrior from Delaware, you'll be soon able, hopefully, maybe, be able to play on Ultimate Poker in Delaware. I don't know the details of it. I don't know if we have to have, like, a presence in Delaware or what exactly. So I'm not 100% sure what's going on with all that. But even if it's just the news that they're doing it, I think it's great. This is the first sign. This is the first step. Hopefully it works and is a successful partnership for both states. And hopefully this is the beginning of the new era. Hopefully, we'll start seeing this more often, and states will start to make compacts, and we'll start to share player pools, because poker is entirely based on liquidity and how many players are playing. And, that it's very hard to run poker sites that are, little pawns, just Nevada, just New Jersey. I think when you start mixing these player pools, we'll really start to see the game grow, and that's obviously a good thing. Game growing. It's great. That could be a quote. That could be a great headline. Jay Carver says, game growing. Great. Okay. Awesome headline there. I could definitely be Tom Brokaw. Tom Brokaw's got nothing on this. 0. So Blunt Smoker raises under the gun here. I'm just, that's what his name is. I don't know what to say. I don't think, we could fold this, but I can't. Ace 7, how do you fold Ace 7 in the big blind against, this guy might not even know he's playing poker right now. He might think he's playing like play money. You can't just fold, I guess I can fold now, but I think calling preflop against the min raise is probably fine. It could be bad, but did he even post? I think he posted. I don't think he's played in orbit, unless I just didn't notice the whole time. But I'm pretty sure this is his first big blind. He's not even on auto post. So yeah, I definitely don't mind defending against a guy who's just posting under the gun. I think that seems fine. So there was that news that the states are combining player pools, which is obviously great. great news. It's a great step, at least. Other big news coming out this week. There was a today was the day where the end of testosterone replacement therapy in the UFC was effectively created, or I guess I said that poorly, but I guess I'm not really sure the exact administrative process of it, but the Nevada State Athletic Commission decided to ban what is effectively seems to be legalized steroid use. You know, if you just chart badly on a test, they can find like a somewhat unscrupulous doctor to give you this thing, and these UFC fighters, who are in the hurt business, where were taking some of them were taking this therapy, and it was most likely providing them with a competitive advantage. You look at guys like Vitor Belfort, who is obviously pulled out of his title fight so he can acclimate, I assume, back to regular testosterone. So it's been kind of a crazy day. You know, if you've been a fan of the sport for a while, as I obviously am a huge fan of the UFC, I'm really happy to see it come to an end. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. You have to make the most fair playing field possible, and I think eliminating TRT, which doesn't make a lot of sense that a guy can do steroids 10 years ago, have low testosterone because he did steroids, and then legally take testosterone to replace testosterone that he's lost from taking steroids. Like, what? I mean, I actually am not like, I'm not like super against testosterone replacement therapy for fighters if they have like some crazy issue, like if you actually do have some sort of a problem where you really need it, but there was an ESPN article that came out a couple days ago, and they talked about it, and they were just like, they really broke it down, and it's such a small percentage of people that are allowed to be on this therapy in other sports, and in MMA it was just such a larger percentage than in any other sport. It just didn't seem right. Either something was happening to the fighters where they needed it more often, which would require a pretty heavy look at, or something is being abused here. So I'm really happy that they eliminate it from the sport. It's just the next step, and I think that everyone is kind of just like, oh, I'm glad that's over. Now, obviously, there's still other states that may allow for therapeutic use exemptions and all that, but I'm pretty confident that Nevada usually sets the standard. That's what we do here in Nevada. Yeah, that's what we do here in Nevada. I would know. I'm from Nevada. I have a piece of plastic that says so. That's right. That's all I can show you. That's all I can show you. But it's there. It's a real thing. That's right. Here, look. We are battle born. That's right. There you go. Battle born. Yes. Battle born. Need no testosterone, apparently. That's what that says. All right. Well, I guess we'll fold. What does it mean now? I wasn't born here, so I don't know if I'm battle-born by, now that I've signed up for it. Am I now battle-born? I don't know. I'm not really sure. I in the last couple of days, I haven't really done a ton of things, to be honest. It's actually been kind of weird. I've been doing less than usual. Still been doing, some stuff, but been kind of distracted by a couple different things, and one of those things is the debut of Survivor for this season 28, I believe, and I was particularly interested. I've been a fan of Survivor forever now, 20 seasons or something, but they had a poker player on this season, and poker players haven't fared particularly well over the course of the show. I'm not going to spoil it if you haven't seen it yet, even though it was 2 days ago, so I feel like I could spoil it, and you guys couldn't be too upset with me. But I won't spoil it. But I guess I won't spoil it. All right, we'll talk about it more next week after we've been beyond the spoiler zone. I feel always really bad talking about TV that's possibly not. I give them 3 or 4 days, and then we'll talk about it. But I guess we can still talk about TV though, because I've been watching a decent amount of television, more than I did in the last couple months prior to this one. I found that I've discovered True Detective, which I believe is the best show on television. If you're not watching it and you're a fan of Breaking Bad, The Sopranos, The Wire, The Shield is another one that's kind of similar, I guess, in a much different way. If you're a fan of any of those shows, you have to watch True Detective. It's so good. It's so good. They just do an amazing job of storytelling, and some of the visuals are just absolutely phenomenal. It's really kind of replaced the Breaking Bad Sunday night spot in my heart, at least. So if you haven't checked it out yet, highly recommend it on HBO. I guess that's part of my Sunday block now of The Walking Dead, which is, never quite as like, I never quite feel as satisfied as I feel like I used to with that show. And now I have True Detective, which I always feel great about. So, hey, there's that. Raising it up here with Ace Queen of Hearts, back to poker. Oh, looks like we've added 3 more hearts to our collection. I believe that's 5 hearts, dealer. I guess you can't ask the dealer these questions, but I did anyway. I do what I want. That's right. That's right. I'm rocking the mundo. We do what we want. Oh, of course, we don't get any action. Yeah, okay, sure. Well, that's what we got for telling the dealer what we had. But this is actually a different Mundo shirt than the one that I always wear. I don't know. I happen to love my Mundo shirts. I don't know what to say. And in other exciting League of Legends news, quite exciting League of Legends news, I made it to Gold 3. Wow. Those of you that know League of Legends, Gold 3. Baller! It's probably the best accomplishment I've made this month. The whole month of February, number 1 accomplishment, made it to Gold 3. It's probably true so far. February is not yet over, you never know. Maybe something else will happen here. I would love to run it up. That would be an accomplishment. We would run it up twice in a week. That would be pretty sweet. On the road to that so far. This is Blunt Smoker's second pot. Yep, looks like this is going to be that's a pretty bad river for the preflop raiser. You'd think Zakanova. Ooh, you'd think that would be a good river for him, but it looks like Blunt Smoker might have him confused and dazed over there. All right, he gets it done. I don't think we've seen too much of that avatar over there. It's like if David Williams had a Bravo show. It's like I don't quite know what's going on with that thing there. It's he's got like this super tight sleeves. You can see his like arms starting to stick out and everything. What are you wearing, like a 14-year-old girl's t-shirt or something? And then he's got 2 earrings over there. I don't know. What are you doing with your life? I don't know. That's right. It's fashion talk. It's fashion talk here on Run It Up. Fashion Fridays. We can go around the table and we can just critique everybody, We got the Joe Chong avatar in the 1 seat, or I guess that's not the 1 seat. It's the 9 seat, I guess, or 6 seat since we're playing 6-handed. It's a number. That much I would go so far as to say for sure. And then we have the Karthus avatar over there looking dazzling in that black robe. It's so in this season. I can't even do it. I have no friends that really talk like that. Negranu actually does a much closer, accurate, or hilarious, stereotypical, perhaps, impression of a like fashionista than I do. I have no one that talks like that, even in jest, except Daniel, I guess. Gonna min raise here with the old 9-7 of hots. Let's see what our friend with the skull decides to do. Call. All right. Not nearly as good as our last hand with 2 hearts in them. We have added a heart, though, which I guess is something. Going to start here with a bet. I think $1 seems fine. Our opponent says, no, thank you. And I say, thank you. It's only polite, after all. Going to probably raise his hand up here with the queen and the 10. Could either... Oh, no, I think raising is fine. If this guy plays Derb, if Derb 3 decides to play this pot, I suppose we will just fold. Could also raise, actually. Against this tanking thing, I mean, you could just, it's hard to say online when somebody tanks like this. It's hard to read that necessarily as weakness, because even if he, comes back now and raises, there's a possibility he was, on the phone or, in the other room making himself some sweet Hot Pockets, and, he just sees from across the room that he has 2 kings, sprints, leaps over his desk, and then raises, So it's not really, a guarantee that it's weak just because he took so long. Obviously, it's not necessarily a good sign that he's strong, and he's more likely to be weak, I would say, but can't really say for sure. I would have considered raising if he had opened normally, though, because it seems like a decent spot to do it. We're a little bit deeper than normal in position with a reasonable hand, surely reasonable enough. 5-4 of hearts here, probably going to just be defending. Against the limp, I'm very happy to raise. This guy is really deep, and I feel like we have a pretty good read on this guy. Not like super good, but I'm very happy to just play a bigger pot here in position with a hand that's very reasonable. There's nothing he can do pre-flop that'll get me to fold this hand besides like shoving, obviously. But there's nothing within the realm of like super reason that would get me to fold here. Pretty good flop for us. I'm going to start here with a bet. Probably going to bet 250. Against a pot size bet, I'm probably just going to call. We could raise. I think that would be fine. But one of the problems with raising is that if he has we make some mistakes against his actions. And I think calling makes him make more mistakes. It allows him to keep bluffing should we turn a heart or something like that. If a turn card is like an ace or a king, there's a good chance that he might check. And it gives us a chance to win the pot. Against a double pot size bet here, I think we just have to fold, though. It's kind of unlucky for us that we didn't somehow have something better happen. Like, I think even if like the turn card is like, if it's a 6 or a deuce, a 5 or a 4 or a heart, we obviously continue or win. And if it's an ace or a king, I think he probably slows down or something. So for us to like just snap lose the turn, he has to A, turn a turn card that doesn't help us in any way or scare him in any way, and then B, decide to bet, and then C, or B, number 2B, he needs to bet enough to get us to fold. Because if bet's like $4, we're not going to fold, so he has to bet pot on top of that. But, you go back a decision and say, okay, well, maybe if he did that, maybe we should have... I think I can call here just because this guy is probably not... We're just basically calling $1 to win $4, so we're getting a pretty good price on our flush draw here. Even though I don't love it, I think it's still certainly okay to just take a card there. But, yeah, now we just fold. So we were talking about, let's go back a street and say, okay, well, maybe should we have raised flop? Well, first of all, I would say, don't be so results-oriented, kid. So you didn't win the hand. Doesn't necessarily mean you did anything wrong. That is a fundamental issue of poker. But if we go back to the flop and say, okay, well, maybe we could have... I don't know. Maybe there's something we could have done here differently. Could we have raised? Could we have... Well, we could never have folded, obviously, but could we have raised? We could debate that. What would have happened if we made it $8.50 on the flop or $9 or $10 on the flop? What would have happened then? It's hard to say. We don't have we have a good feel for him generally, I would say, but I don't think we can say specifically because we don't have enough history blind versus blind. What happens blind versus... Does he play all his hands blind versus blind? Does he always call in that situation? What does it mean when he pots out? And I know I said before that we had a good read on him, but I think that it's a misspeaking as far as like really being sure what he's doing. Like I think we have a good general feel for what that player is capable of. We kind of know he's a little bit more aggressive, that he's capable of aggression, but seems like he at least kind of like understands a little bit about like when he should be folding and stuff like that we can put some pressure on him. He's not just like auto calling. So I think we might have like the most information on him than any other player at this table, but still not enough to be so confident that we're like, oh, we clearly should have raised. We missed a raise there on the flop. We might have, but I wouldn't say that for show. Nothing is for show. We've been over this before, if you've been here for a while. Gonna just fold here. We limped behind this guy's Zakhanova over there, which is a great name, by the way. It's a great name. I might not love the avatar, but the name is great. The other avatars are kind of boring. You're an 8-ball on a pedestal. Good for you. Yeah, cool. Yeah, it does nothing for me, What does that say about you? You're doesn't say very much, I gotta say. The ATM, okay, what are we, in 2004? Oh, you're an ATM avatar. Wow, that's clever. The other two are unique, but, not really. Guy with a hood. And then there's a skeleton, angry guy. All right, cool. Nothing compares to the leprechaun sheriff. I mean, what could? Literally, nothing, obviously. So I'm not gonna, I guess we're shit-talking a little bit here. But it wouldn't be running up without a little bit of needling, You gotta, drive the needle in. Well, we were on that 5 fishing expedition. Didn't quite make it there. Did make it to 2-pair status, though. I guess that's something. Against the min bet here, I kind of interpret this to be almost like a check. Like, I mean, we could just call. It seems fine. We have a pretty good price. There's a chance that these players will fold behind us, I mean, I think that this is a situation where I'm very, very, very unhappy with this. Like, I'm like, I would have folded for $2, but I think for 50 cents we can peel one off. There's a chance that both players behind us will fold, and that then we might have a chance to win this pot on the turn, potentially unimproved. But against 3 people here, I would find it hard to imagine that we're going to get somebody to fold an 8, and I would think that somebody probably has one. It's possible that all these guys have straight draws or flush draws. Like, it's possible that I might not fold here on this river to a bet, but, okay, he says okay, he just folds. Well, we only have 2 guys left to beat, so I'm almost certainly not folding now. We must win. 2 pair. 5s and 7s. Yes. Pay me, please. I wasn't folding, don't worry. Okay, this has been a session. Let's make it 101, dealer. That's right. 101 under the gun. Let's have some fun. Yeah. You know it's a late night video because there is rhyming going on. That's right. If we ever had money to do something, we would set up like an alarm system where I could like press a button and like they would have 2 alarms that would go off, you know? Yeah. 2 alarms would go off and be like, rhyming alert. Like a little robot, like that old the one on Fox they use for like NFL stuff. The little like he kind of looks like he kind of looks like that robot Wally. There we go. I knew I would get there eventually. That's what it kind of looks like a little bit, only like a slender version. Right? Am I wrong about that? Maybe I'm just hallucinating. It's possible. Gonna just fold here, of course, with a lead from our friend Zachanova over there. I can't just say his name. Like, I can't just be like, Zachanova. No, it's Zachanova. That's why the name is so great. There's a person whose League of Legends name is, I guess I can say, all right, it's not a big deal. There's a run-up warrior whose League of Legends name is Corky's mom. It's great. Every time I see this guy or talk to this guy or even just see him online, I always just have to play Stacy's mom because I just can't help it. It's just too good of a name. I think that's like a really good sign that you have a good name. I think he's accomplished that. So there is that. And he has a very unique avatar, so hey, I give him that. I might not agree with what it's wearing, but it's unique, so there's points for that. Probably, well, I guess we're checking. Let's see, 3, dealer. $1. Okay. Well, we have ourselves a 3 straight and a jack high. That's kind of cool. Gonna start with a check. Perhaps our opponent will let us win this pot somehow, some way. Pretty sure the ace turn card is going to end our chances of winning this hand, but hey, maybe he'll just check back, and then maybe we'll see a river, and then maybe jack high will win. Looks like none of those things will be coming true, though. We'll have to try that again another time, and we just say, you got this one, kid. Saw you. I don't contest. I told that story a long time ago, but I guess it's been long enough now that the story can come back. That reminded me of a situation where one of my friends was playing a Magic tournament live, and his opponent just for some reason just vocalized in very odd ways, and whenever he'd have a decision to make and couldn't do anything about what my friend was doing, his response would be, "Can't contest." It's like, okay, kid, all right, sure, whatever. Is this like happy, cheery? Can't contest. Okay, sure. It's great. Whatever makes you happy. It's, you go, slugger. That's how I feel about that. So Blunt Smoker here has decided to lead out again. I guess we obviously just fold now. Could have actually re-raised this pre-flop. I think I actually re-raised there more often than calling, but the can't contest story was uncontestable apparently, and I just didn't want to re-raise. I think raising would have been fine. This guy's been kind of tight, but he also hasn't been playing a ton of hands either because he's been sitting out for like a whole full orbit. So we don't have a ton of information on this guy, but this is basically just pretty straightforward to raise here. Looks like we have a 2 cents deposit from our friend LV Gone. This game is very slow and boring. Okay, all right, and he sits out. I'm sick of you people. I'm gonna stay up till 1 in the morning, and this is what you guys are gonna do to me? I don't know. It's a poker game. Open up another table. We're playing on the internet. Is he playing on other tables? It doesn't seem like it. Not that I looked at like 4, and then I was like, yep, it doesn't think like it. It does not seem like it though. All right, back to the game we go. Looks like I'm recording the video, which I just had a momentary panic attack that I was not. That's good news. I haven't not recorded a video in a long time. Back in like the back when I was getting more used to the setup, we changed software, stuff like that. There was a day in like the 40s, the run-up 40s era, where we probably had a very similar bankroll to what we had now. It's variance, you know, I would say. But there was a night where I swear I recorded 3 videos before actually recording the 4th attempt. And by the time I did the 4th one, I'm already so tilted to start the video off. But, you guys don't know that. So you guys will be like, wow, Jay Carver, you're such a nasty mood today. But, why are you so down on yourself? But I was just like massively tilted. So it was like I wasn't used to casting at that point. So I was really incapable of just like, I'm still not really super capable of that, to be honest. Whatever else is going on, turn it off, get on a stage. I actually think that one of the things that Run Up has done for me the most, it's becoming serious when I put my head in my hands like this. That's how at home. It's like a little signal to serious talk. But real talk. Back, one of the things that I never really appreciated as much as I do these days is you turn on the TV late at night, you watch Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, David Letterman, whoever you want. And you watch these guys, and they do their performance, and they're so consistent. Now, not always. Some of them are more swingy than others. But you look at someone like Stephen Colbert, who I have never seen a show and been like, boy, he really phoned that one in. It's amazing how these performers can just so consistently perform and do amazingly well. And 5 or 4 days a week, however many days they work or make shows. It's crazy to me, and I never really appreciated it as much as I do now. Now, admittedly, they have 12 writers. They set their whole days up for it. They're paid to do all these things, and they've had many years to prepare for that. But for me, that was always one of the hardest things about doing a show 5 days a week is especially in the older days I guess my younger days, I guess is how I should actually say that. But it was hard for me to always just be like, man, so I had a day today where I, lost $30,000 doing something. And, then I had this argument with this person, and then I worked for 6 hours, out in the pig farms. And now I have to go do a video. It's like, I'm not used to I wasn't really used to flipping the switch on. But in the last few months, I feel like I've gotten better at that. Although I'm not great at it, but I feel like I've gotten better at it, or at least I know myself better as far as I can kind of tell I should really do a video today at 7 p.m. because I know at midnight I won't want to do anything, and I feel like I've got better at that. But my point was, I feel like I have gained so much appreciation for those guys and what they do, because it's not easy to just always, wake up or not necessarily wake up, but just cast every day and always be the same person. So we're down to heads up here now. Looks like 3 people have decided just to watch. It's okay. They like to watch. Sure. I'm going to raise here with the old king queen of puppy dog feet. Seems like a very reasonable thing to do. Off to the flop we go. Oh. Welcome to the team. 3 more puppy dog feet. Gonna start here with a wager. Seems like the right thing to do. Hopefully our opponent contests. Alright, off to the turn card we go. My plan is to just bet. That's the scientific thing, I think, is what it is here. So I'm gonna just bet and probably bet. Our opponent says he's had enough, which I think is very reasonable. Why do I want to just bet there? Well, because I think there's a lot of hands that will be calling and not a lot of hands that will be raising, or betting themselves, I meant to say, not raising. I think he's going to have lots of hands if I can speak English, there are going to be lots of hands that are going to be 10s to 9s, lots of hands that probably don't have a ton of equity against us, but have some, or will call but might not bet themselves. They might just check back if we check to them. And I'd rather just bet because on the chance he does call 3 streets, we want to really kind of set up for a big river bet. We're going to be betting there so often, that's one of the major reasons I want to bet there, is because what do we do if we have ace-4 offsuit with the ace of clubs? Are we ever checking? Nah. There are lots of situations where we're never checking, and when we have nothing. So when we have something, I like to bet, because we bet when we have nothing, we should bet when we have something. That's usually how this poker game works, typically speaking. Now, if we knew our opponent was the aggressive type, the stabby type, the floaty type, any of these things, we could definitely posit a theory of checking at some point, either on the flop or turn. I like my check there. It's a little like basketball dribbling-esque. I'm going to get emails about that. No, it's not. Okay, relax, LeBron James over here getting all upset with me. Wow, Jay Carver knows a basketball player. Yeah, I could name like 4. I could name more than 4. I mean, I would name Dwayne, right? Dwayne Wade. I would name, boy, I'm putting myself on the spot here. I'm sure I can. Jason Collins, yes, I can name 4 for sure. And then Kobe. That's great. 4 basketball players, no problem. I could probably go more than that too. What was that guy's name? The guy's name that was like a sicko back when I had bets on basketball and actually sweated it. He was on the Mavs. He was really good. He had like a D in his name. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I watched basketball regularly. A couple of years ago, I was really close with Jason Mercier, and the two of us made bets on everything and shared action on like everything, including basketball bets, which I don't remember working out well for me. But I remember enjoying sweating it, but yeah, didn't work out well. I'm sure if I really had to like sit down and name like 15 basketball players that like were active and currently played, I could do it. I could definitely do it. I pay enough attention. Dwight Howard, right? Who's this other guy who hurt his knee from Chicago? Oh man, what is his name? Somebody out there. There's going to be like 40 of you that are going to be like enraged that I can't remember these people's names, but that happens. I'm sorry. I feel like I've done an okay job. God, that one's going to annoy me because he was really good and then he hurt his knee and then vanished for a little while. Sorry, I'm not remembering. It's been too long since I played NBA 2K and I just don't recall. I'm sorry. I don't recall. We'll see if it comes back to me. We're going to continue this three-handed game here for probably a little bit longer. I feel pretty comfortable in this game. I think nobody seems to pose too much of a threat. This guy's just having a good time. That guy's, I don't think he's just playing poker. Just seems like he's very straightforward. Nothing crazy out of this guy. Probably going to be defending here if one of these guys re-raises. Off to the flop we go. Not the worst of the flops, I suppose. I guess we'll start with a bet. $1.50 seems fine. Let's see what our opponent decides to do about that. Because he has played pretty straightforward, if he did check raise, I would highly consider just folding. Against a call, though, here we go to the turn. So my question is, I don't really think we should raise here too often, right? Because, well, maybe we could. Maybe we can, right? Because he doesn't have a king very often, right? And he doesn't have ace-king, and probably doesn't even have king-queen necessarily super often. So I think there's a good chance that he might fold a 7, and he might be like, this could be like a testing bet with a 7. Maybe he just has like 2 5s and is kind of testing us. I think it's very rare that he re-raises us in this spot. He has to have a king that he then called pre-flop, check called flop, bet turn, and then decided to raise. That's a pretty unlikely parlay of events here. So I think there's a chance that he folds worse than us, better than us. And I think that there actually is a chance that he calls with worse than us if he does have some like weird float that turned hearts and now here it is, So here we are on the river. I would think this is a good river for us, although if he has a king, obviously it's not, but there were very few that were besides hearts. Now he just decides to wager. So the question is, does he have more full houses or does he have more hands that are just other things? Like he decided to bet call turn, so he could definitely have a king X, but why wouldn't he check to us on the river if he had a hand like that? Like that seems like it's kind of weird. Like he could definitely have us beat here for sure, but I don't think he has us beat often enough for us to fold, getting the price we have. Like I'm a little concerned, but I don't know. I mean, I definitely think that he can have kings there, but man, I'm just not like completely convinced of it. He still has to kind of hit that same parlay we were talking about before, where he has to have made certain decisions with all his hands to get to the certain spot. I know we were saying he was kind of straightforward, but I mean, man, is he really just like never calling on flop with anything besides kings and and then never playing sevens that way. Because, if he has a 7 on the river, he clearly can't win. So that's why, given the price that we're getting, we don't have to win very often. So if we win a quarter of the time, does he have 7s or other ace highs that we chop against? Or does he have, other weird hands that, pocket 5s, I think there are enough other hands, as much as it sucks, especially because now we're losing. But you can't think about things like that. Those aren't real thoughts, you know what I mean? It doesn't impact whether we're winning or losing or on a downswing or on an upswing. It doesn't make a difference, the fact is, we're getting a situation right there, right then, getting 3-1. Ooh, that was, earthquakey. We're making a decision right there, right then, based on what we think this guy has. And I think that those factors are not factors at all. So, that shouldn't impact you. And if it is impacting you, you should quit. It's just the truth of it, or play lower stakes or whatever. So I think for me, he has enough 7s, pocket pairs, ace highs. I think he has those often enough that we can show a profit there, even if it's not a big one. And I also thought that, additionally, the only other thing I haven't really said yet about that river is that I thought there was at least some chance that he would check if he had a king. Just because if he has a king, there aren't a ton of hands that we are going to play this way that are then going to call the river, right? How many hands do we have that play this way that then call the river? We have 7s full of kings? Yeah, I guess. 7s full. If we have, the underfull that then got counterfeited. But if we have, 2 queens, I guess, we could be raising 2 queens on the turn and then call the river. We could have ace-x of hearts. He could put us on that. That's a reasonable hand for us to have. But there's really not a ton of hands. And I'm not saying betting on the river is bad. It might be perfectly fine. But I just don't think it's a guarantee 100% that he always bets the river with a full house. Not mean? You not mean. Gonna raise here with ace-jack of spades. Pretty good spot for us, obviously, in the big blind. Our opponent continues. Not the best of flops, but not the worst of flops, as we like to say here. Gonna start the bet. I think 450 seems fine. If our opponent continues with a raise, we're probably gonna have to fold, even though he does have things like flush draws, 6-4 every once in a while, ace deuce, ace 4. We would still end up having to fold to the raise just because he has too often. He just has top pair or flush or flush draws with that are live cards and stuff like that. We just don't have enough information to be able to continue there. So I'll probably play here for a few more orbits. A little bit longer video seems fine to me because we had a shorter video yesterday. Even though it's getting very late. Very, very, very late. Oh, looks like we're putting Blunt Smoker to the test. Classic race situation. Looks like Blunt Smoker over there might need to roll himself up another buy-in. I'm just saying, it's too easy. I can't help it. It's, I can't help it. Well, I don't know if this will be the end of our game because I'm not sure if this guy will play us heads up, but I'm not going to quit just yet. Perhaps he will. That would be sweet. Okay, I'm going to start here at the bet. I'll feel sad if this guy doesn't contest on paired boards, and then because he contested on the other paired board, he probably has something. But I'm not even saying he has nothing. I'm even completely excluding the possibility that he has queen 10 on the king 7 board, because he can't, obviously, after the turn. But I'm just completely, I still think he has enough things that then need to bluff, because they can't win without bluffing, that there's enough of a chance that he does that. But if he's super straightforward, then he might not bluff at all, which would be sad. But I don't know that yet, so... Do I love it? No, I don't love it, but I think we're close enough to the ballpark that I feel okay about it. So far, so good. Don't think we've lost a hand yet. Heads up. It's always a good sign. You can mix calling or raising here, I think. Both seem viable against certain opponents. I think against a guy who's more straightforward, I think I'd rather raise. Is that correct? I mean, I'm not saying for sure against this guy particularly. I'm not necessarily sure if it's correct against this guy to raise hands like this, but it's got to be probably fine. He seems like he's not super sticky, which I guess would mean this bodes poorly for us that he is sticking around. Could bet here twice. There's a chance he'll fold an 8 and not like a super good chance, but there's a chance he'll fold an 8, and if he doesn't, well, we could hit a 6 or a 7. There's always that. Actually, I think even if an ace or a king hits, maybe there's a chance we can bluff him off a hand better than ours. And if he has a hand like Jack 10 or any kind of like those straight draw types of things, I don't think betting twice is okay. So here we are. I mean, I think we need to bluff here. He definitely can have ace X, but I think we just have to. Like, I think this is just a card that we just have to bluff at. I mean, he can have flushes. He can have 2 pairs. He can have, there are lots of hands he can have in that spot that we'll just have to call. But I think against a guy who like seems to be looking for, I mean, not necessarily for sure, but he seems like he's kind of been looking for spots to fold or like excuses to fold, kind of, sort of. I think we're just going to fold this here and just basically clicking buttons. I mean, this is the first time we've seen him do this. I think we can give him credit. He did just lose the last spot, so maybe he's like tilted and steaming, but maybe he'll just 4-bet us tilting and steaming, or 5-bet us rather. But I don't absolutely love the river spot with the ace, but, kind of actually similar to the, oops, what's going on here? Okay. Don't know if this is my internet or what. Sorry about this. Technical difficulties here. The recording continues, though. I'm seeing other tables deal. That's kind of weird. Don't know what to make of that. Yeah, I can join other tables. I wonder if he's sat out? I don't know. Clearly I have internet because I can get on other tables. And I'm still on League of Legends, so you can add me if you want to play. Jay Carver on League of Legends. Yeah, I don't really know what's going on here, to be honest with you. Okay, I guess I'm going to pause the video for a sec while I try to figure this out. Okay, sorry about that. It only took me a second and then just dealt back in, so it seems like everything is fine. I didn't do anything. All I did was sit here and dealt this back in a second after we started, so nothing really changed on my end. Oh, yeah, he says he got booted off. All right, so made it to second pair status, which is kind of sweet. I don't know what I was talking about, but if it was something that was important, say it in the comments below, and I'll reply if I missed a thought thread that I was trying to finish there. At least one that matters, I should say. Gonna start here. I guess we could actually check raise or check call. I think both are kind of viable. I think calling is, I don't know. I mean, it's close. It's very close in that spot between check raising and check calling. Against a guy like this, I actually think maybe check raising might be a little bit better. Because at this point now, it's like, well, I mean, I guess we just fold. He has enough hands better than us, better 8s, pocket pairs that are higher than 8s, jacks, kings, queen 10, jack, ace 10, stuff like that are all very scary to our exact hand. We're very vulnerable to hands like that. And if we're beat, we're very, very behind. So I think folding is a reasonable path there. I like his 1 1/4 raise size. Seems fine. Don't want to min raise. I think don't want a 1.5x or 1.150. All right, 3x is the number I'm looking for. Okay, I think we're gonna start here with a bet. Kind of just still feeling out our opponent. We talked about playing heads up before against certain opponents, and I think I've pretty much always talked about the importance of kind of establishing the jab, kind of, sort of like as you would in fighting, to kind of like test your opponents, see like how they react. Like, do they always fold the c-bets? Do they check raise certain boards? Do they do this? Do they do that? And obviously this is where I like to play a 2-hour session and like really play a guy and like really try to study and break him down and try to kind of like develop a strategy on how we're going to beat him over the long run. And I always start with spots like that. But even in a vacuum, we're only playing for like 20 hands or however many hands more we're going to play. Even in that small sample space, I still think that bet on the flop is still fine, given that we have a hand that is as good as it is. So, yeah, what was I talking about prior to this video? I feel like this video once we get a heads up, it always becomes a little bit more serious. But I think maybe I was talking about the ace on the river hand. If you saw the king 7 8 8 board and were like, wow, that river call is atrocious. I got very upset there at the end. If that's what you were like, the river shove with the sixes on the ace river is also not a thing that works 100% of the time. You know what I mean? It's a play that will work. You know, I'm risking 20 to win 30. I know it's not exactly that, but I'm risking whatever it was to win whatever it was. And that play doesn't work 100% of the time. It doesn't even necessarily work 70% of the time, but I think it works often enough that we show a profit, which is the key part, the key fundamental of all poker, you know? So I think that the fact that, you know, you shouldn't be like, oh, that player was so bad, but that one was great. You know, it's just they all kind of have their own inherent percent chances of working and stuff like that. I do think that the sixes play is better than the other play. But again, we could have had the best hand with that as well. Nice. We could have had the best hand there, right? It's possible that he had, like, was there a flush draw on turn? There was, right? Because there are 3 spades on the river. So it's possible that, I guess flush draw got there, so he can't have, like, that and then fold, obviously. But it's possible that he had, like, Jack 10, right? That was a straight draw on flop that turned nothing. Maybe he called twice. You know, it's possible. Not super likely, but it's possible that he had hands like that we actually were not... we didn't have the worst hand. Boy, I get the complicated stuff down right, no problem. But then for some reason the harder stuff is the easier stuff. Wow, there we go. Stuff like this, I guess, is an example I'm falling off a little bit on. So against the guy who has the short stack here, I don't think we can profitably set mine, and I think that's what we'd be doing by calling. You know, I think if we don't flop a set, we're just check folding. I don't think we flop a set often enough to show a profit here, so I think we can just fold. Now that it's not heads up anymore, I'm probably not going to play too much longer. I think it's been a good session, though. We've had a lot of interesting hands. Actually, I think this might have been the most interesting session we've played in a very long time. There was the queen jack hand very early on, the sixes hand recently, the king. Sorry, we didn't have a king in that hand. The hand we had, the ace 10 of hearts, was also pretty interesting. So we had like 3 interesting hands this session so far, and a couple other ones in there that were also decent. And a pretty good mix, I feel like, of poker and my, entertainment, maybe. Mild entertainment, you know. Let's not be too crazy here now, people. Pretty good flop for us. Going to start with a check and make some decisions. Could check raise or check call. He only has half a stack, so, you know, I'm not, like, super concerned about, you know, getting it in awfully or anything, but I think calling is fine. Let's see, a turn card dealer. Pretty good one for us. If we were ahead, we probably still are. If he bets here twice, we have a decision, but I think I'm still not folding. Gonna need to see some pretty scary river card and some aggression on his part for us to fold. Like the queen of hearts would be a good one for him to win this pot on. Deuce is probably not going to cut it. My plan is to check and probably call. If he has his beat, he has his beat, but there's not really a lot of hands that have his beat here, and there are a lot of hands that missed, you know, straight draws, stuff like that. Yes, sir. That's right. The old clawerino. That's what they call me. Tony Clawerino. Is that what they call me? Tony Clawerino. Okay, sure. I guess they can call me that. That's just a sick name. That would be a good alias. And by good, I mean terrible. Atrociously bad alias. You know, no one would ever believe that. Your name is what? Yeah, not the best. Maybe we win. It goes check, check. You guys got Jack 5 of diamonds. Jack 5 of diamonds is no good, kid. Okay. I don't know what he had, but I was right that we were maybe winning. At least there's that. I think we're going to fold this. Could actually open this, but I feel like we'll just let this one go. We'll play for another orbit, 3 more hands, and then wrap this video up. It's been a long video, I think, although I had to restart, so I'm not really 100% sure. But I feel like we've been casting for a good amount of time. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. I'm sure you'll really enjoy this video if we can book a win. We'll just fold 3 hands. Lock up the win. Please, Jay Carver. Please. All right, well, I can't fold this hand. You guys would not respect me if I folded queen 4 of spades. Come on, though. Off to the flop we go. That seems like a decent flop for us. Made it to pair status, which is always nice. So I actually think we have 2 decisions between check raising all in and calling. I think check raising all in is probably actually maybe the best play here, but I'm going to take the slightly more protective of our profit route and call, also because I'm going to just bink the old queen on the turn. Let's not miss that little detail of this plan. If our opponent bets now, I'm definitely just all in. There are too many river cards that could either shut him down or be, make him the best hand or something, so we're all in. Let's see what our opponent decides to do here. All right. Hey, we did it. All you nits that wanted to fold preflop, we're dominating the guy. He's got deuce 4. Deuce 4. You want to fold queen 4 and let this guy out of the cage? No. I think not. In the cage with you, sir. That's right. That's right. Your sandwich is ready. Your sandwich of missed flush draw. Yes, that's what it sounds like. The J. Carver Deli has no clubs for you, sir. Oh, 2 pair for us again. Wow. I like that idea. The J. Carver Deli. It sounds like a decent place. J. Carver Deli. I'm your host. I'm your manager, Tony Clawerino. Whatever, J. Carver. Yeah. Hey, it is what it is. It's a run-up episode. This is what you get. This is a run-up episode. We played poker. We had some decisions. We hero called incorrectly. That's a key fundamental of a run-up episode. We bluffed correctly. That doesn't always happen, but it happened twice this episode. And we called with queen 4, made 2 pair, and we won all the monies. And we talked about lots of nonsense along the way. That's the run-up episode for you. This is it. This is basically as good as it gets here, as far as I know. Assuming that we end up with a win. If we lose, I'll be sad. But I feel good about this. I feel like we're making good decisions, which is always nice. Gonna just call here. I'm a little bit concerned, but I'm not gonna raise. I think that would be kind of nuts and doesn't make a lot of sense. There's no way in HE double hockey sticks that I'm going to be folding this river here, and against the check I'm certainly betting. We could have diamonds and spades and ace 4s and all sorts of things, and I want to definitely be bluffing here sometimes, and I definitely think a jack is going to be the best hand. And he can call us with lots of things worse than us. 6s and 5s and 3s, oh my. All these things could call us if they so please. If he checks and raises, I would say a very nice hand and fold. Hopefully he bluffed us because that would be a nice bluff on his part, but it doesn't seem like that's what we're getting. Good fold by our opponent there. It looks like he considered it, but considered correctly. Oops, sorry. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I hit print screen and I have a weird thing that comes up on this computer. I don't even know. I never did anything, but it like puts like a cutting board out, and I can like pick parts of the screen out and stuff. I don't know. That if you guys, I don't know if you guys can even see that, but yeah, sorry, that's what that was. In case you guys could see that, all of a sudden we were under like a swamp water type of situation. Hey, look, we managed to maybe run it up after all. I guess I shouldn't jinx this just yet, but looks like we might be. I will play for one more orbit now. I know I said 3 hands, but when you stack a guy, it's common courtesy to stick around for a little bit, even though I was planning on quitting. I don't want to hit and run this guy, Not that I'm like running that far, but I think I'll let this guy play another orbit out, and then we're probably gonna wrap it up. Yeah, so we'll play a full another round from this button. Ace 4 of hearts here. I think completing is fine. It's my standard out of the small blind after all. Our nurse friend over there, our slutty nurse friend. It's the eyeshadow, I don't know what to say. It's it's our slutty nurse friend. That's a pretty good flop for us. We've managed to make it to 4 red card status. Against this hand is good enough to go to war. I'm not check calling. I think check raising seems fine. You could make it 5. He calls 5. He's putting in another 350. He has 15, and there's 15 in the pot. We just shove on the turn. That seems like a reasonable thing to me. I check and I raise. Let's see what this guy decides to do about this. I call you. Okay. All right. I guess we're playing for 2 more orbits. Hey, we're on a heater, kids. We hit both of them. Both of them, boys. That's right. 1 claw, please. Table 7. Tony Clawerino ordering it up. Oh, this guy quit. All right, we're not going to start a whole heads up session here. This is a good avenue of quitting here. So GG. All right. Hey, look, we did it. Wow. That was a session of poker there, wasn't it? How insightful, Jay Carver. Before we go to the full screen status, let's take a look. At least you ran it up. That's right. You played good. He did play good. I think he played very well. He played very solid the whole time. You know, I think if you're a run-it-up warrior or even just like a run-it-up enthusiast, even if you're like mildly can stand me, any of those things, I think you played really well, Jay Leff. I think you should be proud of how you played, you know, in my opinion. So let's hit the cashier button because my run-it-up bankroll is exactly right. Yeah, so nice. So we ended up losing like $8 from Danielle, so it's not exactly right. And I haven't figured out how to do that, how to get rid of that money yet, because what if I do, like, I can't withdraw $8. I haven't figured that out yet. But anyway, so I'm just crediting it off. We have 940 in the account, so we have like $935. Hey, we ran it up. An extra $60. It's like our biggest winning session in forever. Like forever. It's been, I don't even know how long it's been. I don't even want to know. Don't tell me, please. It's been a long time. But hey, look, we ran it up. That's pretty sweet. We did some work today, kids. If you enjoyed today's video, let me know in the comments below. You should like the video because, you know, that's how I know you like the video. We ran it up. That's a good thing. Like the video. You can follow me on Facebook.com/JCarPoker, Twitter.com/JasonSomerville, and you can follow me on both of those places. I talk about non-run-it-up things on Twitter. I talk about run-it-up things on Facebook very often. You take your pick, or take both, whatever. I appreciate you even listening to this part anyway. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the videos this week. If you haven't already subscribed, you should do that. That's great. It automatically notifies you when I make new videos and all sorts of cool things, and I really appreciate it if you already have. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I think that's it for me. There will be some stuff happening next week, some cool guests and stuff like that. This week was 4 run-it-up videos, right? We haven't done that in a long time. But I'm feeling it. I'm feeling good. Let's try to put it back together. We're Humpty Dumpty, you know? Okay, sure. Tony Clawerino is in town. So don't, you know, what's to be feared? We're Tony Clawerino is here. No worries. All right, I will see you guys back for more very soon. Peace.